In this video, I'm going to show you the two primary types of cash discount pricing and how to create a proposal for them. Now, the ideas and concepts I'm going to present here, you could use them with, a spreadsheet or however you're doing your proposals. I'm going to show you this using instantquotetool.com for two reasons. One, obviously, I want you to sign up for it. So if you're looking to create a cash discount proposal, go to instantquotetool.com and sign up for a free 30-day trial. However, also I need to show you this because using the tool, I can really illustrate the different options so you can see them here and I can make adjustments in real time. So the first thing we're going to talk about is zero fee daily discount cash discounting. And that's what you're looking at right now. So on this proposal, this is what a merchant would see. They would see that they're really on true flat rate pricing. So when the processor is doing daily discount, all they're really doing is true flat rate pricing. So in this case, 399 basis points or 3.99%, which seems to be the industry norm. And so they're at flat rate pricing. They're doing 10,000 in volume. So that means 10,000 times 3.99%. They're going to pay $399 in fees, but the processor is going to do a daily discount as well, and they're going to be collecting that $399 throughout the month, resulting in total fees of $0. Okay? So this is how it would actually look on a statement, on a proposal. Now you might say, well, James, why would I even make a proposal for this? Well, you'd actually be surprised. Merchants really like to have some kind of a proposal and to see this, because that way, when they get their statement, if they see some pass-through fees down here, they can be like, wait a second, I got a proposal. It showed I wasn't going to have any pass-through fees. So be very careful. Don't give this proposal out unless your processor confirms that the merchant really is going to pay $0 fees. That is not the industry norm, and I'm going to show you how to add the other variations to it here in just a minute. So the first reason is because the merchant may want to actually see something that really is in writing and looks professional and shows them that. So I'm going to go back here to the view where we can kind of edit this and things like that. So the other option would be, let's click on Edit Proposal here, and I'm going to click on Compare Programs, and I am going to go down here. And by the way, when you sign up for the tool, these are all the programs that we add by default, and that way you can clone them and then edit them to your liking. But we're going to go ahead and click on the cash discounting escrow. This is the second type of processing. Now notice up here it does show your compensation. And what's interesting, let's go back to compare programs here. Look at the cash discounting, the exact same residual, and the exact same savings. Well, what's the difference? Well, let's click on the cash discounting escrow. When we click on the shareable link here, and then here you could send an email to the merchant with a link to this proposal. But if you click on PDF, you're going to notice that there are literally no fees at all. Now, the reason there's no fees at all is because this money is being held in escrow. So the way escrow billing works with cash discounting is that at the terminal level, when a service fee is collected, the processor kind of split funds it and actually holds that money in an escrow account. And at the end of the month, they go ahead and cover all of the costs and all the fees. Now, you might again say, well, why on earth would I even need a proposal like this? Well, again, very rarely is it this simple. I'm going to show you why in a second. But also in this program, I'll show you, I've actually loaded all of the costs in so that when you click on Edit Proposal, again, you can see your residual compensation. All right. So let's go ahead and dive in, and we're going to look at how to do three things to a cash discount proposal that are very, very common, how to do them here using the tool. So let's go ahead and click up here on our profile, click on Manage Programs, and here we can see our 4 programs, okay? Down here we could also see the 4 template programs as well, so they're here, but we've already got them cloned in here so that we can edit them. So the first thing I want to show you is how to add monthly fees. So let's go up to this kind of normal cash discount one here. Click on Details, and let's add some fees in here. So we're going to click on New Fee. And let's say, a lot of times you're going to have maybe a statement fee. That's a monthly fee. Now, again, some of this might look a little bit complex to you, and if it does, our support teams usually sets up all of this stuff for you. So if you're using our tool, just email support@instantquotetool.com and we'll build this out for you. But you basically have a default, which is the price that's going to show up on the proposal. You have your Schedule A cost, let's say $2, meaning everything over $2 is profit and you're going to get a residual split. Then you have the minimum amount. So let's say, well, maybe it has to be, $750 is the lowest the processor will allow you to go. And then we usually leave the max at infinity, meaning you can make it whatever you want. We save it. And let's create one more fee. A really common one is the IRS fee here. And this is, again, a monthly fee in this case. And let's say it's, I don't know. Let's say this fee is going to be $450. And let's say there's no profit on this one. So we're going to put it in at cost, but, the rep's allowed to price it higher. And then let's create one more. We'll do a PCI annual fee here. So this is an annual fee. And let's say that it's $79 a year. Maybe there's a $29 cost, but you have to do it at $79. And you can't go any higher. It has to be $79. That's just what it is, right? Now, one thing that's important to note is, we've changed this program, but that's not going to change our existing prospect. So, you wouldn't go back to prospects and click on this proposal because that one that we made is already locked in that way. So that way we can remember what we quoted to the merchant. We don't want it to change. But let's click on quote and let's go ahead and do a new one here. So we'll do quick service, 10,000 in volume, and let's say $350 in fees. So you can see how easy it is to create a proposal here. So again, this is where I'm standing in front of the merchant. I ask them roughly how much they're processing in volume, what their total fees are. Now, if I had a statement, I would go to the advanced mode and I would put the volume, transactions, batches, and total fees there. But in simple mode, we just put, rough numbers after we talk to the merchant and hit create. Okay, and so let's click on edit proposal. We're in the cash discounting right now. Now look at our compensation. It went up to $104.58 and the savings went down a little bit. Well, why is that? Well, let's go down to the proposed fees. Well, we still see these two up here at the top, right? But we now have the IRS fee, the statement fee, and the annual fee broken down by 12 months. See, we automatically divide the annual fee by 12. So they're going to have an average of $21 a month in fees now that we've added those monthly fees in. The next thing I'm going to show you how to do is add leases and software type stuff to the program. So let's go back here. This happens a lot with cash discounting. A lot of cash discounting is doing leases, which is fine. And, adding maybe Clover point of sale system or, different tablet point of sale systems like Mint that support cash discounting. So let's do this one on the cash discounting escrow. So let me click on this. So the first thing I want to show you here before we jump in and do that is you need to understand how we have set up all the costs. Now, I'm not going to dive into the details here in this video, but I'm more than happy to do that for you. In fact, if you click on support, we have a whole bunch of screenshot videos on how to do this. Again, you can just email support@instantquotetool.com. We will build this for you. But the idea here is, even though, look at this default column and how they're all zeroed out. So the idea is we're not charging the merchant anything here, but look at the cost column. We still have the 3-cent Schedule A cost, the 10-cent Amex cost, the 20 basis point Amex cost, PIN debit. We still have the interchange cost, debit network access, Amex out blue, dues and assessments. We still have all of that there, and that's all being used to calculate for our residuals, okay? So, our program calculates not only the proposed fees for the merchant, but also shows you how to calculate your own residuals very easily. It does it all for you. So we have to have those costs in there because they do still affect residuals. Notice up here, the escrow collection, this has a negative 399 basis points of cost. You're like, well, what does that mean? Well, when you're calculating residual, it's going to be the fees and then minus the cost. Well, in this case, because we're collecting that 3.99 basis point, 399 basis points or $399 on $10,000, that's a negative that's going to offset these other costs. And that's how we're able to still calculate your residuals correctly with escrow cash discounting. All right. So we have that in there. What I want to show you now is let's add a lease, because here's the thing, maybe in this case, we want to add a lease and, we may or may not lease a terminal to the merchant. Maybe we have a free terminal option and a leasing option. Well, how do we do that? Well, all we do is go down here to new feature. Let's create a couple of new features, which are just names that we put in the system, but I'll show you how we use them in a second. So let's call this the, oh, I don't know, maybe the Deja Vu Z11 lease. We'll do a $49 lease here. I like the Deja Vu Z11 myself. All right, and let's add one more feature here, and we'll call this the free, we'll call it the terminal loaner, VX520 terminal loaner. That's a good one. Okay, so now we have a couple of features. Well, what can we do with that? Well, let's go ahead and create a new fee here, and let's create a, yeah, that's good. Let's just do this here. So we'll create a $49 Z11 lease, which is going to be a monthly fee. Now this one, we're going to lock it in because it doesn't create any residuals. So we're going to lock it in. So if you look at that, the idea is it's $49. Cost is $49 because it's not generating any residual. It's offsetting. You have to put it at $49. So minimum and maximum is $49. So this is always going to be $49. We save it. Now, if we just did that, it would always show up on the proposal. But watch this. We can do a program feature condition and say this is only when we select the $49 Deja Vu Z11 lease. Okay, let's do one more here. Let's create a new fee and let's call this the, oh, what do they call this usually? Terminal placement something or other. And so this will be the free terminal program. And let's say there's a monthly fee there of $9.95. And maybe that one has a cost of $9.95 to the processor. Minimum, it has to be $9.95, but you can price it higher if you want to make a profit. So we'll save that. Okay, now let's go back to it real quick here, and let's add a feature for this one and make this the VX520. Now, these features are also where you could add things like authorize.net, Clover software fees, on and on down the line. Those are not as common with cash discounting, so I'm not going to do that on this one. But that's where you add fees where it's like, I may choose to add that, feature to the program. And if I do, then these fees apply. If not, they don't. Okay. So let's take a look and see how this looks. Let's go to quote. Let's create a new quote here. This time, let's select something different. Let's do a convenience store. Let's say the convenience store does 20,000 in volume. And by the way, you can notice here it already gives us our average, monthly fees based on our algorithm of what their average should be. And we have that there so you can just have a talking point with the merchant. Let's say that they're paying, I don't know, $625 a month in fees. Click Create. Edit Proposal. Let's choose a different program here. Remember, we made these changes to the escrow program. So let's go here to choose the escrow program. So a couple things you can notice right off the bat, really high compensation because we're doing basically collecting 3.99% on this one. All right, let's scroll down a little bit here and see program features. So if you look down here at the proposed fees, there are none. I mean, there's literally no proposed fees at all. But if we click on the program features here and we say, you know what, they're going to get that $49 lease. Click Update. Now you can see that in the features, and there you go. There is your $49 lease. So that's a way you can add any of these conditional fees, in this case leasing. And what I've done for a lot of ISOs is we've added maybe 5 different leases, 39, 59, 79, whatever. And you choose which one. Or again, free terminal option, whatever that might be. So that's how you add conditional fees such as leases. Okay. All right. Last one we're going to talk about real quick is how to add interchange and other costs in that the service fee is not covering. And this is really common right now. So let me start by explaining this real quick before we go into the program and make the change. So you can see here that even though when we go to the proposal, let's go back here to the proposal. So when we look at our PDF proposal here, we see the $49. And if you look down here, pass-through fees, it says 0. So there's no pass-through fees at all. All right. And the reason that there's no pass-through fees here is because I showed you in the program, I zeroed all that out because in this case, this is escrow, or even if it was on the flat rate, the daily discount option, the idea is that those fees that are collected, the service fees are covering, the consumer service fees are covering interchange and dues and assessments and all that. Okay. But a lot of times they're not covering all of that. You need to make sure you talk to your processor to understand what exactly is being covered. So let me give you 2 examples where it's changed and it's a little bit different, and I'll show you what it looks like. So let's go back to our profile. And let's go to Manage Programs. And let's do the escrow, the one that we were just working on, and we'll make the change here. Now, the first thing that will happen is a lot of processors are using a billing system such as DTI, where you can choose to not cover certain things. And this is just designed to increase the residuals, is all it is. So the idea is, or maybe they want to price it a little lower. So maybe they don't want to pass on, 399 basis points. Maybe instead of 3.99%, maybe they're going to edit this and say, well, actually, we're just going to do 329. So we're not going to go quite as high here, right? But what's going to happen is with that service fee, because we took it down, we're not going to cover the dues and assessments. That's a really, really common one. So right now, all the costs are there, but we don't have any revenue to offset the cost because we're assuming the service fee revenue is covering all of that. So let me go ahead real quickly. I'm going to edit all of these and edit it back in. I'll show you the first one and then I'll skip to, when I'm done. So here you can see the cost is 13 basis points for Visa credit assessment. We're going to add 13 here and 13 to the minimum. So now it's going to be there and we're going to be charging the merchant that 13 basis points. Let's save that. So now you can see that we've added all of these fees back in down here for the dues and assessments from Visa and MasterCard, basically saying, hey, we're going to be charging the consumer the 3.99%, and that's going to cover all the interchange because we have zeros here, but it's not going to cover the credit assessment. And again, I think we said we'd change this down to negative 329, I think. So let's change this to 3.29%. So again, just a little bit of a different strategy here where maybe the percentage of the consumer fee is a little lower, but we are charging the dues and assessments. That's a very, very common thing. The last thing I'll show you here, and then we'll do a proposal with this, is some of the systems are actually still charging for some of the card types. So for instance, they may not be covering, maybe they're not covering things like rewards cards, some of the higher cards or whatever. And, maybe on average, they're only covering 95% of interchange. Again, the only reason they would do that is to protect themselves against loss, depending on how low the percentage is, or in some cases to just increase profit. So the logic basically is, hey, if we're going to charge, if we're only going to collect maybe 2.7% or 3% or whatever, we need to protect ourselves. And so we're still going to bill the merchant on top of that for the, rewards cards or whatever it might be. And so let's say that they're going to wipe out on average 95% of interchange. Well, click on details here. And we actually need to go ahead and put in that 5%, right? We'll put 5 and 5. So now there is going to be 5% of interchange that we are going to charge the merchant. 100% is still going to hit us on our cost, on our residuals, but we're going to charge the merchant about 5% of interchange on average. So click Save. So now you can see that on VMD interchange, we have that 5%, but we're saying it's still going to cover all of Amex Hot Blue and all of the debit network access fees, okay? But again, there's a lot of variations there. I've seen cash discount programs where they're only doing cash discount on Visa, MasterCard, Discover, not on PIN debit, and maybe not on Amex, So there's variations there, and we have the ability to do any variation you can possibly think of in the system. You just have to let us know. So with that, let's look at our last quote and we'll be done. So we're going to click on quote, choose one. Let's choose maybe, maybe this is a fitness gym. By the way, that business type, selecting the business type there, we're doing that because that's how our interchange algorithm is figuring out what interchange is. Because we know what interchange, that's what allows us to do these really, really simple proposals in a few steps. So let's go down here and say we've got a fitness gym. Click on create. And let's edit the proposal here. Let's look at our escrow down here. Click on choose. Okay, and so now when you scroll down, now you can see, well, you're probably going to have about $7.53 in interchange charges a month. Why? Because about 5% of the interchange is going to come through to you. You're also going to pay the fees we're passing through from Visa, MasterCard, and Discover, the dues and assessments, right? Then we might go down to the features and say, we're also going to add that $49 Deja Vu lease. So now all of a sudden we have something that looks a little bit more realistic, like the average cash discount deal in the industry right now. They're going to go from paying $350 a month to paying $72.75 a month. And the compensation for the rep, in addition to their upfront money on the lease, is going to be $84 a month. And that's based on, I think I put a 50% split on this program, which of course you could edit to match whatever percentage split you are getting. And again, still shows the full interchange here, but only 5% of that is coming through to the merchant. So let's click on our PDF. We'll click shareable link. And again, you could just click on send via email and send this right to the merchant from our program, or click on PDF. And here we go. We got a beautiful PDF, and it has the dues and assessments down here in the pass-through and the VMD interchange. So that way you can do an accurate proposal. So the two different types of cash discount pricing are zero fee daily discount and zero fee escrow, but there are three variations I see a lot. One is where you're adding monthly fees. The other one is where you're adding leases and, fees that are conditional. You may have the fee, you may not. Depends on what equipment they choose or something like that. And the third one is the pass-through fees like dues and assessments or interchange, where some of those are being charged. In any of those situations, you can create a beautiful proposal right here. So if you are not signed up already, make sure you go to instantquotetool.com. This is our brand new version 2, and it is out. Thanks so much for taking time to watch this video. Hope you have an awesome day.